Hello and welcome to the College Investor Audio Show. We are so happy that you're here today as we take a look at something we don't ever love to talk about, taxes, right? But we do have some good news in the midst of the property tax world. How do you save money on your property taxes? First, I just want to remind you, go ahead and hit that subscribe button on the podcast because we're updating this thing all the time with some amazing content. Go back into the archives, several years worth of amazing stuff. You can also check out thecollegeinvestor.com and find any extra resources and help as we talk about things today. Anything we talk about on the podcast, you can dive in really deep at thecollegeinvestor.com. We're all over social media. We'd love to get to know you better and help you along in your money journey. You can just search for The College Investor and you'll find us. All right, so let's get to it. Property taxes. They're typically kind of your largest homeownership expense after paying your mortgage, of course. Any way to save on your taxes can be a huge win for your budget for sure. We know that homeownership can be a true joy. It really can. The thought of holding your very own keys in your hands, being able to point and say, "That's my house," you know? That's until it's time to pay property taxes, right? The average property tax in California is over $4,600 a year, but places like New Jersey and Connecticut kind of ranges between $6,400 and almost $10,000 per year. Yikes. This is undoubtedly not one of the joys of homeownership. Now, of course, we all want to be great citizens and do our due diligence to help with infrastructure and projects that benefit our communities. However, there's really no reason to be overpaying your property taxes. None at all. There are ways to legally reduce your property tax bill. Let's dive in. First, how do property taxes work? In simple terms, property taxes are local taxes paid on real estate you own, including both the land and buildings on the land. The amount of property tax you owe is typically based on the assessed value of the property. In other words, what the property is worth. Some states, California most notably, assess your property taxes on the sales price you purchased the property for. For example, if you buy a home for $500,000, your property tax will be roughly 1.2% of the value, or $6,000 a year. So in California, they don't reassess your property value unless you substantially change your property. This is kind of how some amazing beachfront property pays very little in taxes, by the way. However, in other states, they may reassess your property value every single year, or maybe every other year. In Texas, for instance, the state law is that every property must be reassessed at least every 3 years. The result is the amount that you pay in property taxes may change based on the new assessed value. If you want to dispute your property tax bill, it almost always is about disputing the value of your property. Here's how you can do that. Contact your local county tax office. Just a simple Google search for local or county tax office and the name of your city, of course, is going to give you the list of appropriate offices in your local area. And these are the people you need to talk to. Once you've collected that information, call or just stop by one of the offices and ask them about what your options are when it comes to reducing your property taxes, especially if you believe you might be paying too much. This really is a situation of, if you never ask, you will never know. Once you ascertain all the options available, you can then just go ahead and implement the ones that will save you the most money. And a quick note here, local government offices are notoriously underfunded and understaffed, which means that if you choose to send an email, it's going to get lost. It just is. Calling or booking a physical appointment, imagine that, is more likely to yield you some productive results. All right, next point we're going to make is find out the current value of your property. For most people, the number one driver of their property tax is the value of their home. Other than a few small flat taxes, the largest portion of property taxes is a percentage of the value of the home. Say something like 1%. So it's important to note what the county or city thinks your property value is and what you think the value of your property is. Get a copy of your home's current assessment record from the county assessor's office and this will potentially give you further grounds to save on your taxes, by the way. Being in the know of how your local government assesses properties in your locality is extremely useful as well. For instance, in some states, property taxes are based on a capped percentage on the purchase price of your home, while others have been known to raise or reduce your tax bill based on fluctuating market prices. So, finding out exactly how that number is calculated will help you determine if you're paying the right rate or not. Another way to find out the true value of your property is if you've recently had an appraisal done. So, for example, maybe you just refinanced your home and you have an updated appraisal from your bank. This can be a great tool in helping you understand the current value of your property. Appeal your property taxes or your assessment. So, it's likely that this might be one of the options that will be presented to you by the local or county tax office. The sad truth is that sometimes the county assessor's office, the people who appraise and place a value on homes and properties, are woefully understaffed, as we've talked about, and yet are responsible for the whole county somehow. So, being busy like that also means that the probability for errors to have been made when the property was first appraised are kind of high. It's also possible that a neighbor of yours who has a much bigger, more expensive property than yours may even be paying taxes lower than yours as a result. Figure that one out, right? So, this is where you can begin to appeal your current tax bill. Every local tax office will handle tax appeals differently, though, but in general, it's going to work along the following lines. Let's take a look at these steps. First, you file an official appeal with your local or county tax office, and then you get in touch with the county assessor's office and go over the value of your home together to ensure your home was assessed correctly and that there are no errors. Again, stopping by to make an appointment or calling them is the best way to do this. And then third, an appraiser may be sent to your home to come and reappraise your property, taking similar properties around you into consideration. You can exercise your power here a little bit by walking the property with the appraiser to make sure they get everything right. The next thing, if further evidence is needed, you might have to attend a hearing of your case to defend your case. And then, if it does happen that your home was incorrectly appraised and as a result you are paying higher taxes, this information will be communicated to the county assessor's office, and steps to reduce how much you're paying on your property taxes can be processed from there. If you are owed a refund as a result of overpaying, you're going to get that from your local county tax office as well. Now let's take a look at researching what similar properties and your neighbors are paying. You don't even need to ask your neighbors. That's a good thing, what they're paying for property taxes. You can find property tax information for your home and properties similar to yours using information from the county tax office. Make sure you compare based on parameters like the size of the home, bedroom and bathroom count, garage, no garage, the year the home was built, acreage that surrounds the home, and of course, premium views like the ocean, a lake, maybe some mountains, all that stuff. If your research shows that you're paying considerably more than properties around you that have similar characteristics, you can arm yourself with this knowledge to further push your appeal. You can also use real estate websites like Zillow and Redfin to find out what homes similar to yours have sold for in the last 30 to 90 days and the taxes they are paying, just to kind of gain a good idea of what you should be paying. And then find out if you're eligible for a tax break. States and local governments have different property tax breaks if you're a senior citizen, a veteran, active military, maybe you're disabled, or experiencing severe financial hardship. You may have to file the necessary paperwork to prove this, that you fall into one of those categories, but man, it is worth it if you do. A lot of locations also have a homeowner's or a homestead exemption. I know mine does. My community does. This means that if you live at the property as your primary residence, you get a little bit of a tax break, and it does help. However, it usually requires that you file a specific form. Make sure you file this form if you haven't. Other states and local governments will also take or give a tax break if you use alternative sources of energy for your home, like solar power. And there are services to help you too. In a lot of states and locations, there are services that can help you try to get your property taxes lowered. They basically just do all the steps above for you, but for a fee, and sometimes the fee is a flat rate service, whether or not they can even save you any money. Other times, you'll pay the company a percentage of the savings when they are successfully able to lower your taxes. Now, that's a good plan, I think. One service that has been leveraging technology to help is Ownwell. Ownwell, two words combined into one, Ownwell. This company will kind of let you know up front if they think that you can save money, and they really only charge a percentage if they are successful. I like that. They operate in several states as well. We have a review of Ownwell right inside this article at thecollegeinvestor.com. Some key points to remember real quick before we wrap up for today. These are the steps you can take to lower your property tax bill and pay the taxes you have to pay. And nothing more than that. Not a penny more. I personally have been able to use an appraisal from refinancing my home to lower my tax bill. It worked. I just filed an appeal with my county, sent them my new appraisal, and they agreed. For about 30 minutes of work, I was able to save a few $100, and it does add up. However, if you don't have something recent, it could be useful to use a service like Ownwell and make a whole lot of sense for you. So while you take these steps, it is important to remember that you will still need to pay your taxes for the current year while you research and appeal your case. You just might get a refund back. It's also important to note that if you do decide to appeal, it could take 1 to 2 years for that property tax bill to come to its correct level and for you to get your refund. We do think it's worth the fight, though, regardless, because it will save you from 10, 20, or even 30 years of overpaying in taxes when you could have put the money towards investments. If you want to find out more about this and a whole lot more, check out thecollegeinvestor.com. Follow us on social media, ask us questions. We'd love to get to know you and help you along in your journey. At The College Investor, just type those into the search bar. Wherever you are, you'll find us. We're probably there too. Thanks again for stopping by today, and we'll talk to you again real soon.